Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's the first time you are visiting my channel, I want to encourage you to like and equally subscribe. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience, being black in Germany. Now, the reason for recording this video is actually to educate, Africans or people of African descent who intend to come to Germany, whether to live, to work, or whatever. And it's more or less like just to educate you generally of the way the society is currently. Now, I would like to state that many of the things I am sharing here is based on my own, experience, and then you shouldn't just take it for what it is, because a lot of people would have different opinions. Okay, so let's get down to the video. Like I stated, I've been in Germany for about 2 years, and I came to Germany basically to study, for my master's in international tourism development. So I do not think that I would ever choose Germany as a destination, or as a country to reside in, if not for the fact that I have the opportunity to study, and I would say that generally speaking, my whole experience has been actually very fantastic, and I've enjoyed a whole lot of things, meeting very good people and having the opportunity to work with different people from different cultures. However, I would also like to state some of the things, my observations and experiences of some things that I do not necessarily like. Okay, so one of the things that actually came across, in the last 2 years since I had been living in Germany, I remember one experience which wasn't very good, and that was, I believe, on a particular Sunday. I was going out, say around 8 o'clock or thereabout, and I went to the bus station. When I got to the bus station, I was the only one who was at the station, and I waited for my bus. And if I currently stay in Munich, and sometimes, especially during the weekends, you have like buses or trams coming like 5 minutes later than they do during the week. So it happened that I got to the bus station, say about 5 minutes earlier based on the plan. And as I waited there, I stood at the place where the driver who would pick me up, or the public transport driver, would be able to see me. And can you believe what actually happened? The driver came. Fortunately or unfortunately, the bus was quite empty. So the driver came, when he saw that I was the only person who was there, and in quotes now, a black person, he wouldn't believe that he actually drove past. Now, I believe that if there was possibly one person inside the bus, the driver wouldn't have done like that. And I was overwhelmed, like, oh my God, what's just happened right now? I would say that he saw me because I made sure that I was very visible, and that was actually a negative vibe. I felt, I didn't feel very good, because how would you see me as a person? I have my own ticket, and it's not as if I want a free ride. It's a public facility that everyone can use, irrespective of the fact whether you have a black skin or a white skin or whatever. So I felt very, very bad that particular day, that why would you, see me at the bus stop and you would just park? Some people might be thinking maybe the bus wasn't in service. It was in service, because a lot of times when a bus is not in service, they usually write it at the top, screen. So that's the first one. Now the second one, this one actually was quite good, because it ended where I was in the U-Bahn. There's the underground train. I stay in Munich, like I said earlier on, and I sat on the seats. And if you are familiar with the U-Bahn in Germany, you will find that a lot of times there are some designated seats, that's where there's more or less like a cross sign, which signifies that it is for people who are old, pregnant, or sick, or whatever. It's more or less like just to assist people who are not in their best health, kind of. So I always make sure that I do not sit in such designated seats. And it happened that I was seated opposite one of those seats, and someone came to meet me. I don't know if the person is a German or whatever, and told me to stand, that he or she wants to sit. I was like, are you serious? You can see everyone who is inside this coach, in the train, and you are telling me to stand, you want to sit? No, it's not possible. So I stood my ground that I wasn't going to stand up. Unfortunately, someone who was actually thinking very well, took it up upon herself and started talking to the other party. How would she tell? Of course, they were speaking in German. How would you tell him to stand up from his seat? He has paid for it and the rest like that. So so then again, it's another negative experience, because why would I be singled out from a whole lot of people? I was seated on the right type of seat, so why would I be picked on that I should stand? Since I have my valid ticket once again, so that was actually not very good, and little cases like this usually come up one time or the other. If I am to talk, I would say a whole lot, but then, like I said, the woman who was by my side came to my rescue, and that's one of the things I have actually enjoyed in one case or the other, that people, speak out against some people who come as being discriminatory. Okay, so the next one is actually in the place of stereotypes, or will I say people being ignorant, kind of. So when people meet me for the first time, they possibly ask that, hey, where are you from? I tell them, oh, I'm from Nigeria. I say, wow, that's good. They say, oh, are you from Africa? Sorry. They tell me that, am I from Africa? I'm like, what? In this age and century, how can people come from Africa? It's not possible. See, for those who are watching this video and do not know, Africa is made up of about 54 countries, and if I'm to put it in the term that you would understand, you have Europe is a continent and you have several countries there. So if I meet you, for example, and I say, oh, are you from Europe? It's kind of like sound quite, I wouldn't want to use the word, but it looks quite silly when you say, are you from Europe? Because of course you have people who come from Slovenia, people from Germany, people from Denmark, Switzerland, and the rest like that. So people ask me, oh, are you from Africa? I'm more or less like, that's not the right question to ask. It's quite silly. I am from Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the countries in Africa. Then when we have this conversation again, say, oh, your English is very good. Where did you learn English from? I'm like, what? Oh, these were subjects, when I was in high school, we did a whole lot of subjects about countries in the whole world, and to an extent, I wouldn't say I'm actually very good, but if you call a country, I should have an idea of what they speak as an official language. So I feel quite offended sometimes when people are like, oh, your English is good, where did you learn it from? Like, excuse me, in Nigeria, for example, English is our official language, so why would you ask me such question? So another question they also ask, is, do we sleep in huts in Africa? Then again, Africa. If I have stayed in Germany for 2 years, and I've lived in my home country, Nigeria, for a long or extended period of time, and I would say that, of course, there's a lot of inequality. However, there are a lot of people who live very good lives. When I talk about live very good lives, they live in big houses, luxurious houses that sometimes, if I'm to compare, I feel that some people even have much more resources back in my home country than here in Germany. So when I get some of these remarks, it's more or less like people trying to stereotype, Africans as people who are poor, who are disadvantaged, and the rest like that. And it breaks my heart. And one thing I try as much as possible to do is, in a good way, try to educate people that no, Africa is not a continent. Africa is not a country, it is a continent, okay? And I also try to educate them that English is an official language in my home country, And also I tell them that not everybody are poor in Africa, I was doing well for myself in my home country before I came to Germany. So, and I believe that a lot of people too are also doing well for themselves. You would be surprised if you personally would take, a time or two to do a research on countries in Africa. So not all what is said on the mainstream media is actually correct. Okay. So another part, still talking about them stereotypes, is the fact that I feel that as a black person, especially if you are from Africa, whether it's from Kenya, from Tanzania, from Nigeria, from Ghana, is that sometimes you might not get the opportunities that you deserve. When I talk about that, sometimes you are told to do like a Lebenslauf, which is like your CV, and when for some people they do not put their pictures, but sometimes when you put your name, like my name is Ibukun Badejo, and if as an HR you see such name, you know automatically that this person is not is not a German or is not European. The name is quite strange, So a lot of times when you apply for jobs, it's most likely that you might get a lot of rejections. That's the honest truth. The truth is also that you would need to work much more harder than your contemporaries. And this actually disturbs me a lot, because I feel that as a person should be judged by his or her own intellect, based on his or her own merits, not by the color of his or her own skin, And when you have this disadvantage at the first run, it's more or less like it's going to be quite difficult, for people to break into the society. So in recent times, it has been getting better, but I also believe that a lot of employers can do better. For example, I know several people who are quite talented. They're very intelligent, and they have, skills that are needed for several jobs, but many times they still get rejected, when they make application. So I will share one experience I had. I applied for a particular job, and the requirement that was put there is that you should be able to speak English, fluently. And it's funny to me quite. Anyway, I applied. After applying, I ticked a lot of the box. I am quite savvy when it comes to, social media and internet marketing. And the job, I also had some experience in customer service. So the job required some of these things, So I ticked the box according to what was in it. And fortunately, say about a week or thereabout, I got an email telling me that, the job requires that I speak German. Okay, and I was looking to myself that if I required German, why wasn't it put there? But one way or the other, I just discovered that to an extent it's because of my own profile. They were really looking for someone like me, So that's one of the things that you would actually experience, the fact that if you want to get a job, like a professional job, by the fact that you are possibly black, it's going to be much more competitive. You do not have a level playing ground. Like I said, it's the terrain is changing currently. A lot of people, because of people are coming into the country to fill in positions that Germans or Europeans cannot fill, especially in the IT field. So I know a lot of colleagues of mine who have come from Nigeria, to work here. So it's something that's changing, but I believe that it can be better. Okay, so now I will talk a bit about the positive aspect being that Germany has created a whole lot of opportunities, for me. If I am to look at it, as a result of coming to Germany, I've been exposed to meeting a whole lot of fantastic people, from different cultures, different parts of the world. It has also exposed me to, having a type of worldview, So basically, when I'm thinking or talking to someone, I do not just use my own culture as a basis, I would say that in a nutshell, I am quite competent interculturally, because I will try to understand where someone is coming from and not just take people for how they are. Okay, so in addition to that, also, I believe that Germany has also created opportunities, professionally, and I actually currently learning under one NGO or non-profit organization, to code, and several things like that. I also had talked about the education that is available, and also some student jobs that I've been able to do, So if I look at it, generally, I would say that if you are to come to Germany as a black person, you should expect, at least for now, some levels of resistance from people, because they are not generally open yet. That's only for some people, not totally. Okay, and irrespective of that, you should also understand that there are a lot of opportunities, So you shouldn't just base your own decision on just the little hiccups here and there. and states that you wouldn't be coming at all. So I've stayed here for over 2 years now, for 2 years, and the experiences I had are that bad are possibly maybe about 8 or 9 different episodes. The ones that are good are a lot, more than in hundreds. So if I would look at it on a scale, I would say it's a good experience, and you can come if you intend to come. All right, so I believe this video has been quite helpful, possibly to shape your own perception. Germany is not a bad place, it's a good place, but there's still a lot of things that need to be worked on, and the perception that they have about black people needs to change. Okay, so if you like this video, I want to encourage you to like and also subscribe, and share with your friends and family. To the next video. Ciao.